So guys, have you all beaten Skyward Sword?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have.
I think we're some of the few in the office that actually finally beat the game.
Yeah, there's some guys that are wimping out, namely Joe. Going back to play Final Fantasy 13-2 again, instead of playing Zelda once.
I just beat it, and I came away with some different impressions from the end of the game than I thought I would. Let's start by talking about the reveal that weird Muppet thing with the black feathers and stuff ends up being Demise or Ganon.
I thought Demise was cool. I mean, they never overtly said, you know, that it's Ganon. They didn't call him Ganon.
He's a redhead.
Yeah, but he's got.
They
the
didn't
flame
say
hair.
like it wasn't like a Ganondorf situation where they just threw his name, mixed him with anything either. But he did kind of look like a beefy steroid Ganon.
Girahim, it seemed like he had like a similar relationship with Ganon as Fi did with Link.
Yeah, they seem to be the same creatures or species or
like a sentient weapon,
AI or something like
Robot, elf, Prancy people.
Yeah, because doesn't Ganon?
That's probably the canon.
Yeah,
the Ganon canon. If I recall, like I think that Ganon actually reaches inside of Girahim's chest right as soon as you beat him and pulls out his sword, and that's basically
and then the sword absorbs Girahim.
Yeah.
Speaking of Girahim, how'd you guys do with that boss battle? Because I was infuriated. I was fine with doing those awesome fatal blows or whatever. And,
when you're coming down, jumping off a platform down onto him and like stabbing him right through the chest.
Like you feel awesome.
Yeah.
But then I remember doing the final battle where you have to like do a bunch of frontward stabs at him and stuff.
Throughout the whole game, the stabs were a problem, and that's it still didn't work as well as the slashes, and to have like such a crucial fight depend on that is pretty weak.
So I wasn't alone there.
I must have been pretty lucky because I didn't have too much trouble with it, and I actually ended up really enjoying it. It did kind of feel like I was actually using the Motion Plus, but it sounds to me like it was almost a matter of just my technology just happening to work well. So when, you know, the red-headed Ganon, non-Ganon, Demise guy shows up and he's like, you know, I've waited eons for you, I can wait a little bit longer and we can fight. And at that point in the game, you can actually go forward and backward in time because you're in the past when he says that, but you can go forward into the future and nothing has happened. So it seems like he is still, like, did he just wait for all those decades or millennia or hundreds of years or whatever? Like he just sat there and waited as you time traveled back and forth? Like I really thought when I was gonna go forward in time to go finish up some, you know, some loose errands or whatever, I thought like the world was gonna be uninhabitable. And I was really disappointed to see it was fine.
The last two battles, as far as Zelda games go, like I was pretty unimpressed. They didn't leave the best taste in my mouth. I loved fighting Ganon and like, you know, calling down the Skyward Strike and lightning strikes you feel super empowered, but then you go to do that jumping stab attack, let's call it a downward cleave. And Ganon rolls out of the way like how many times? I kept on feeling like I was doing something wrong during that boss battle, and I was just swearing at my television, which almost never happens.
I really didn't have a problem with it. I don't know if maybe I just got lucky or what. I never really, I don't even remember him rolling out of the way.
It took me a second to realize about the lightning strike, which I should have known, but it definitely took care of business when he's charging at you. It's nice to be able to just...
What do you guys think about the Impa reveal? I totally saw it coming, that the old lady was Impa, but I don't know if you guys were surprised.
I was still surprised, but I thought it was like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool, but it's not like she showed up like for 3 seconds here and there. It's like not like she was some huge, crazy character.
It's true.
And I feel like I should have known because there's only a handful of humans in the whole game outside of the townspeople and the Skyloft. So it's like,
I mean, yeah, it surprised me. I didn't see it coming, but I wasn't really looking for it, you know?
I wasn't looking for it either, but it was just like, Impa has this hair that, like this braid that would go down one side, the lady had it on the same side, and then once they showed the Temple of Time, they showed just Impa on one side and the old lady on the other. But that's cool, it was a surprise. I wish it had been more of a surprise.
I actually saw on Twitter, like, you know, right after the game came out, people were discussing the fact that the old lady had a tattaoo and that Impa also had a tattaoo at her eye. And
right away.
It was just kind of cool to see that discussion going on before people had beaten the game.
I know Dan had a weird kind of prediction. Before he beat the game, before I beat the game, he was thinking that Groose would end up being Ganon.
Oh, red hair and...
I did too. I was, because me and actually Ben Hansen were talking about that. I felt like an idiot when it didn't happen.
Ben Hansen's not here right now.
No. Like I was sure, because the rumor was going around the office that there was a kind of like a twist ending, kind of a crazy ending. I was like,
same thing.
I was like, oh, I bet Groot because he's got the red hair. And and when it didn't occur, even like watching all the credits, I was like, maybe it's post credits or something.
Wow, you really bought it.
I think that would have been a lot more exciting. Maybe that's why the Impa reveal was not that big a deal to me, because it's like, oh, she's some random side character, who cares? But to have that long like interaction with the person who would be Ganon, it would have been interesting because he starts out as a huge jerk, right? Stealing your bird and just trying to screw you over at every opportunity. Then he redeems himself, but it would have been cool to switch back to the heel, to use wrestling terms.
Yeah, no, that would have been cool. I think I'm getting tired of the formula that you see in, you know, Mega Man or some Marios, and then now Zelda's a big offender. Is just, yeah, Ganon's gonna be the bad guy almost every time. It's always Ganon. Like, stop beating around the bush. We're gonna get there. So make him more interesting along the way, like they did in Wind Waker or in Ocarina of Time. But
yeah, the Groose thing would have been a way. I mean, granted, he was a buffoon, but you could have found a balance with that character. That way they would all three have this connection right from the start. The way that Zelda, you know, she was there.
Some kind of triangle or something. Yeah.
But yeah, they would have all had that connection from growing up. You would have had more like Ganon interaction throughout the whole game, and it would have meant more. Whereas Ganon, or any villain for that matter, can only now just show up and be like, ha ha ha, I'm evil.
I've been sleeping, I've been in an evil coma or something like that.
Yeah, and then summon some beast to fight you at the end of the dungeon and then run off. Like, this would have been a way to have it thread throughout the whole thing, and would have been a much bigger surprise, I think, than Impa.
I feel like Zelda, like talking about Groose and Ganondorf wanting to be more fleshed out, like I feel like Zelda actually got fleshed out quite a bit in Skyward Sword. You get to see her side of the story during the credits, like what she went through.
That was cool.
Which I thought was really awesome. That I had forgotten about that, and when I saw it again, I was like, oh yeah, you know, that's really cool. You get to see what she was doing while Link was trying to chase her down.
But overall, I guess I thought that the story was pretty cool, and ending was all right. But yeah.
Yeah, still love that game.
We should hang out on the roof more often.
Good stuff. Yeah, I'll see you up here
I'll go grab my laptop and just bring it up here.
Yeah, let's go get our stuff. Let's move up here. Why not?
I was only fake walking.
Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls. 'Cause all I see is a tower of dreams, real love bursting out of every scene.